What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. If you are new here, I'm Chris. Welcome to the channel. I like to talk about reselling, lifestyle and running and a few things in between. And I'm pretty pumped to actually be back here to share with you a 5-step process to review your year of reselling. Now, I get really hyped up when it's a new year and coming to the end of a year and all that jazz, because it's a chance to start from zero and take everything that we learned from the year before, or that experience or that lesson, and now move forward and actually work towards making your best year yet again. And that's what I want to share with you today, right? I've been reflecting on how my progress for 2022 of reselling has been, and I wanted to share with you some of the steps that you can go through yourself to really take a zoom out and actually understand how well did you do, and actually what can I take from this, and where can I put some lessons and put some new things in place to ensure that going into the new year, I'm going to do bigger and better. Now, I'm going to be frank, I'm going to share what my goals were, I'm going to share how I probably did not achieve majority of these goals. Actually, I don't think I achieved any of my goals, but the progress here is really real. It's really, really good. I've done better than I've ever done before, so that's still a good thing. And that's what I want to help you understand, because at this time of the year, it can also be a little daunting thinking you didn't hit your goals or you didn't achieve that. But really, when you zoom out, you've actually probably done really, really well. So let's dive in. So for me, quickly, if we just take an understanding of how 2022 went for me, what were the goals, what was the intent, and all that jazz, it was a huge year for me. It was really, really good. It was it was my second year doing reselling, and like every year, it has its ups and downs, it has roller coasters, and that's why I want to take you through and help you understand why it's important that you do this, because what's happened to me, how I've progressed, where I've lacked in progression, it's not going to be the same for you. You've got your own story, you've got your own roller coaster ride that you've had to go on, and you've probably done bigger or better, or maybe you haven't done as much as me, but that's okay. It's your journey, your experience, and that's why I want you to apply this process. So what were my intentions for 2022 and what were the results? I wanted to do $60,000 in gross profit. That's just pure reselling. I wanted to do $40 ASP from an average sales perspective. And for items that I was sourcing, I wanted to make sure that I was picking items that I could get $40 for. And that's only if I was purchasing them in 2022. So basically, I was just trying to boost my ASP, which was going to help me get a better profit margin, and then also, have a higher profit end goal for the end of the year. So how did I actually do? Well, I failed all of them. And this is okay, and I'll take you through why I think it's okay. Profit, I hit about 73% of this goal. So I'll take you through the numbers shortly, but hit about 73% of it. ASP, I hit about 78% of it. I average around 31.5, and then about the same for the items that I sourced, which is not too bad, but it's also about the same that I did last year in terms of the ASP. But again, we'll talk about that shortly. So this is where the 5-step process comes in, right? For you, you've just analyzed what were your goals, what did you hit, what did you didn't. Now we're going to jump into the 5-step process. So the first thing that you want to do is understand that it's okay if you didn't achieve all your goals this year. And you can apply this for anything outside of reselling as well. You can do this outside of reselling, you can do it for life and just in general. So what's really important is you understand what you have learned from this process. What have you learned from any of the challenges or any of the setbacks or any of the things that you've faced this year? And also, how can you now use these as opportunities for growth and development and adjustment going into the new year, or going into 2023, or whatever year it is that you're about to embark on. So let's look at the missed opportunity for myself. For me, I needed to do $164 per day in gross profit in order to hit that goal. Now, at the start of the year, it was going really good. I've got a graph that shows you it was going pretty good, and then it slumped. It dropped down. I lost momentum with that. There were some challenges with that, but basically, when we rounded it all out, 19% of the time of the year, I was hitting that. So meaning 19% of the year, I hit that $164 gross profit per day, and which is not enough, clearly not enough, right? And that's given me some perspective, because it means clearly there's some things there that I've had to improve. Now, at the same time, I've averaged 7 sales per day for about $117 profit per day, that's really good. Like, it's really good. And you can see the graph here. But essentially, when I think about, well, what was I doing wrong? I was doing consistent listings and I was doing consistent sales. My sales grew. I increased my listing goal this year as well. Mid-year, probably about October actually, I started doing 20 listings per day, but I've been doing 15 for the entire year prior to that. it would seem that ASP has a big role to play. Maybe my profit per item has a big role to play. So I didn't have really high enough margins in those, but it can come down to the item sourcing and things like that. But there's huge lessons here. All right. And the question I need to ask myself, and the question you'll ask yourself based on what your results are, is how do I now maintain consistency, maintain that snowballing effect of momentum, but with better results? So how do I lift it to a higher ASP? How do I bring in higher margins? How can I sell more to hit that $164, right? Is it maybe I just needed to do 10 sales per day and things like that? So they're all the things I now need to start to really understand. What is it going to take? What do I need to be doing? But it's not about what is it going to take. It's like, how do I actually get there? What is the action that I can do to make sure that I can ensure that I hit the actual targets that I set for this year? Step number 2 is reflect on the good things that have happened, right? How have you actually gone, and give yourself some credit for the progress that has been made. So this is going to be obviously my numbers, but you can do the same for you. So you want to take a moment to reflect on, the progress you've made, right? Because for me, even though I didn't hit my goals, I've still had my best year yet of reselling. And I think it's important that you have that zoomed out perspective and actually understand where have we come from? What are we comparing to? And I'm only comparing to my own baseline. I've only been doing this for 2 years. I've got a year before this that I can compare to. I'm not comparing to you. I'm not comparing to people ahead of me. I'm not comparing to people below me. I'm comparing to me. And that's what you should do too. So here are my numbers for 2021, 2022, and here are the growth or the difference, right? And it's great to see that across the board, I'm averaging around close to 50% for sales revenue and profit. And it's just really encouraging to see this. I was not tracking this until only in the last month, to be honest. So 2021, we did $51,000 in revenue. Profit was $29,481. And you can see in 2022, sales were up by 51%. And revenue were up by 56%, hitting $80,000 and $600 or so. And then profit was up by about 48% with a profit of $43,882, which is just incredible, right? And this is gross profit. I'm not going to go into net profit and all that jazz. I'll touch on that with a financial year perspective a little later as we move into the financial year. But this is the numbers that you can see here for yourself. Interesting though, my average profit per item has lowered, but my ASP is up by $1. So that's it rounds it out to being about the same walk away per item. So how does this actually play out from, if I zoom out, how was I doing from a progress perspective per week? 2021, my average revenue and profit per week was around just lower than $1,000, and profit was about 566. Once again, this is gross, and sales was around 32 to 33. For 2022, revenue was $1,500 a week, $1,550 actually, and profit was around $843. So seeing that uplift in sales, just shy of 50 items a week. So again, this is really, really encouraging. This is something to be proud of. I am very proud of it. And the same thing, if you can take this same approach and understand your numbers and where you've come from, what you've achieved, and look, maybe your numbers were nowhere near as good. The fact of the matter is you need to review it to understand what worked, what didn't, but also think about what were the things that were at play. And we're going to touch on that shortly, but a couple of other things that I want to reflect on and think, well, what else went really, really well this year is I tried new things. I, worked on doing different sourcing models. I expanded the business. I built new systems and flows, and I expanded into a storage unit, right? Now I have an operations, place of operations outside of home. So, it's really, really encouraging to be able to reflect and take that win. Step number 3 is don't beat yourself up over mistakes and failures, right? Mistakes and failures, they're going to happen to everyone. It's actually more important of how we learn and how we take these to move forward that really, really matters, right? You can fail, you can make a mistake, but if you don't do anything with that, then it really is a bit of a boo-boo because you're not actually applying it to your life. So you need to be gentle with yourself with this and not get so focused on the negative sides of it, but focus on the positive sides of the aspects of this and how can you now take this and help you make this next year coming or the new year or whatever time or period it is to do better. So that's why this zoomed out approach helps you understand and have a better perspective of like, damn, like I've done really, really well, or, I've progressed this much, or actually this ain't too bad, right? When we actually look at it, just because you didn't hit your goal doesn't mean you didn't actually do really, really well, right? So, and again, you want to be comparing to your own baseline. If you've been doing this for 5 years, you've got 5 years of data to be able to compare to. Where does it come into, is it ranking top year out of the 5 years? Is it midway, or what's been going on, right? We should not be comparing to each other, right? Because everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone has a whole set of different perspectives and understandings and unfair advantages. And we only can see, a tip of an iceberg. And for me, like, don't compare to me, right? Take your own numbers, take your own information and compare it to yourself. We are not the same, right? We might have started the same, and maybe, there's a bit of peer comparison that we can do to support each other. But at the same time, it's like how you live your life, how you operate, how you do your business. It's not going to be exactly the same for me. Some of you are going to be ahead of me. Some of you are going to be below me. Some of you are going to be very, very much the same as me. And again, we are all running our own races, and you need to really make sure that that's what you're focusing on your results, how you've progressed against your own results or benchmarks. Step number 4 is focus on progress, the challenges you've overcome, and the lessons learned. So now that you understand what has worked, what hasn't worked, we know that we can never be perfect, but we also should know that, it's not always going to be the case where you're going to hit all your goals. As I said before, and I've been saying it through this whole conversation, is you want to be focusing on the progress you've made, right? Or the lack of progress you've made. And you need to be accountable to that. And you need to understand, well, if I didn't hit it, what are some of the things that maybe, made you change the way you operate? Maybe you changed your goals, or maybe something come up and you decided not to do it anymore. And that's okay too, because you got to make that decision, but you got to live with it. So for me, as I reflect on some of the things that, have happened, is I had COVID, I had long COVID, I was 12 weeks out, which, it took a lot out of me. I had to cancel a lot of other things that I was planning to do, with running and things like that. But at the same time, it gave me some refocus around, where do I spend my energy and how do I operate with better intent? And it meant I could focus on the important things, or the things that I wanted to make sure I'm getting done to continue to move forward and to continue to grow the business and still pay the bills. And I still managed to get about that roughly 52% average or 50% average year growth across sales, revenue, and profit. But, I could have not done that, and there was other areas where I wasn't able to put my energy. So I made sure I put my energy where I could. And again, did COVID mean, is that the reason why I didn't hit $60,000 in profit? No, I am the reason why I didn't hit $60,000 profit, because I didn't put things in place to ensure that I could make that happen. It's not about blaming other people. It's about taking responsibility, taking accountability, and understanding, what did I do? What didn't I do? And what could have I done better? Or, what are all the areas at play here? And you need to do the same for yourself. And then step number 5 is every year is a new opportunity to set new goals and to make a positive change. So we've just reflected, I've just reflected, you've done this with me. And now it's important to understand from these reflections, what are the areas of improvement? How can we make positive changes ahead? And you're probably thinking, well, Chris, what are your goals for 2023? To be honest, I haven't fully identified what they are. Usually I take January to figure out what that looks like. But what I do know is I want to do better than this year. That's the baseline, right? But what does that look like? Well, I'm not too sure. We'll come back to that later. But all I do know is that for 2023, I want to have developed systems and processes to enhance my input and output. And that for the last couple of months, I've been trying new things. I've been testing little ways of doing the jeans, doing the clothing, and setting up the storage unit and things like that. And that's all because I wanted to get ahead, knowing that this year I want to double down on some of those areas. But the question I'm really asking myself is, how can I now, with the same effort, without having to spend extra work, so if it's not me or someone else or whatever, how can I do the same, if not more, with a better ASP, or with more sales, or better margins, or higher ASP, or better items, or whatever it may be, to continue to boost that revenue, to boost that sales, but most of all, boost the profit. Now, it's not all about profit, but at the end of the day, if I want to be able to expand the business, if I want to be able to expand my own lifestyle, profit is profit is the big part of that, right? So that's why I do focus on that. And again, you need to break down and understand, what is it going to take to actually get to where you want to be. I have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility for yourself. I have to take accountability. You have to take accountability for yourself. So there are things that are always going to be out of our control, but we are the ones that are responsible to navigate us through the adventures that we embark. Let me put it in a perspective that really makes it simple, is if you want to achieve 10,000 steps every day, right? If you want to go out and walk 10,000 steps just to stay fit or whatever it may be, on average, that takes usually 1 hour and 40 minutes if you're just walking to get 10,000 steps. Now, of course, you can do that passively throughout the day, just doing things. But if you intentionally wanted to do 10,000 steps, basically to go out and walk and not have to do any other walking for the rest of the day, it's going to take you about 1 hour and 40 minutes, maybe less if you're running. So if you want to do that every day for 365 days, you need to think worst case, or you need to think in your mind and understand that you have to cut out 1 hour and 40 minutes to make that progress every day for 365 days. So when you look at it from a reselling perspective, if you want to hit profit goals, if you want to hit, ASP goals, if you want to hit revenue goals, if you want to hit anything like that, you got to understand, what does it take to actually get that per day? So how much time do I need to spend to actually generate that? And again, you can go list 1,000 DVDs, right, across a month or something. But if those items aren't, items that are willing to sell or don't have a high sell-through rate, that's another factor to take into consideration as well. So there's so many factors at play, but I wanted to give you that perspective because sometimes it's not about just doing for the sake of doing, but understanding what are the things that if I do on a regular basis with the right parameters and characteristics, are going to ensure that I can progress regardless. And that's really what I'm trying to double down on. All right, well, that is the 5-step process to review your reselling for the year for 2022. Really hope this has given you some insight, given you some perspective. Really do appreciate everyone that has come on this journey for the last 2 years, actually, especially this year as well, and seeing that growth, all the comments, all the encouragement, and just, your input. And along the way, I've learned so much from so many other people, in the comments and conversations and groups and things like that. And a big thank you for that. And, I've had a lot of feedback where I've been able to help other people. I want to continue to do that, and I'll try and do that better this year to help other people as well. We're going to leave it there. That's what we're finishing up with. No progress updates for this week. Maybe I'll just flash something up on the screen and you can have a look. But I really wanted to take you through this process because I think it's important that we revisit and understand how we've gone, and now how do we leverage that, because we now have the chance to start from zero. We now have the chance to start from zero this year and to take everything that we know prior and leverage that as an unfair advantage to do better this year and to make this year your best year yet. So really do appreciate you. Let me know some of your goals or some of your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to hear and keep you accountable and just share the excitement, or maybe let me know how you went for 2022. And was it better than you expected, worse, whatever? Let's chat about it. Let's continue the conversation. Really do appreciate you. You have a happy new year and a wonderful day. Cheers.